Today I'm just here with the ETV crew. We're doing our own little mini investigation. We're gonna go around with the Yorktown ghost tour first and see his experiences and stuff, and then we're gonna go a little bit more into the depth of the ship, and we're gonna see if we can experience something supernatural. Since I think it's around 2005, I've been to the Yorktown every Christmas with my dad and stuff, and I know the ship really well, and I love the history behind it and everything, and it's really awesome to be able to come and like get a behind-the-scenes tour.
I'm definitely a little bit nervous. Obviously, it's one thing to hear a ghost story and be intrigued by something that you see, but then to actually have it happen to you is another thing entirely. But at the same time, while I think it's going to be a little bit creepy, I'm not really scared just because I don't think any of the ghosts on this ship would be any kind of bad spirits. I think they all are coming from a good place since they're all former sailors and former crew members.
I'm one of those people that's on the fence sort of, where in the moment I'm like, yeah, I totally believe in ghosts, and then after it happens I might go back and be like, well, that could have been faked or stuff. But I believe with all the stories and everything we've heard here, I think that there are truly going to be some genuine experiences.
Definitely there are some spirits hanging out on the Yorktown. We did not see any full body apparition, but I think all definitely had our moments where we experienced things that we couldn't necessarily explain. I know I myself definitely saw some shadows out of the corners of my eyes. Different moments you would hear whispers, bangs, bumps that there weren't any other people on the ship, so you had to wonder where they were coming from. Never did I ever feel uncomfortable though. Definitely a little bit uneasy, definitely feelings that you were being followed or that there was somebody right over your shoulder, but always very safe on the ship. Definitely some serious activity in the one berthing room. We all felt a little bit shaken up after we left there. Nobody after Bruce left wanted to go in there by themselves. And definitely in the one area where there's sort of a catwalk, I think there were some soldiers following me and Morgan around. But all in all, great experience. I really enjoyed my time on the Yorktown, and definitely some things I can't explain, but definitely some memories I'll take back as well.
I guess overall, we did have some paranormal activity. I was expecting to see a lot more of like full body apparitions and stuff, and we didn't really see that as much. I saw a couple of shadows up in Bruce said it was like a flag control tower, and I saw a shadow darting past that window twice, and that was probably the closest that I came to actually seeing a ghost. But there was just a general feeling of like creepiness and uneasiness in a certain part. Between the catwalk on the hangar deck, between the gun off the Franklin, and some old memorabilia. There was every time we passed, there was rhythmic noise and chatter and stuff. In the hallway, I might have caught a picture of a ghost, maybe. We're gonna have to have the professionals look at it, but overall, it was pretty good.
When we were done the next morning, I was actually a little disappointed because I was hoping to see a ghost. I was hoping to have some kind of experience, and I was a little disappointed. I came back and I downloaded all of my photographs that I took that night into the computer, and I started going through the photographs. And I realized two of the photos were kind of interesting. I wanted to take a photo of the hallway that had the laser grid shining on the walls. When I came back to ETV and was looking at those two still photos, I noticed in the second photo, you could see the back wall at the end of the hallway. The laser lights lit the back wall. The first photo, you couldn't. It was like there was a black mass over it. I thought, well, that's odd. And I thought, well, okay, where the blackness is, the laser lights are streaking, which means they're in motion because this is a timed exposure. All the other laser lights are perfectly still, but the few of those laser lights in the black mass are moving. Okay, wait a minute. So then I went back to the second photo, and we suddenly saw that there's this, what looks like a leg sticking out of the side room, which is a bathroom right there. There's a leg sticking out that wasn't there in the first photo. And in the second photo, the black mass had moved. I mean, it was like I caught two photos of someone walking through the hallway. This second unmanned camera was placed in a lower berthing area, basically where there are a bunch of bunk beds. And this is part of the public tour that you can go on that's below the hangar deck. Again, we left the camera unmanned. We were in a completely different part of the ship at this point. And at the end of this hall is a doorway. Through that doorway, you can't see it in this shot, but there's steps going down. In the middle of the night, while we were gone, apparently the videotape recorded sounds of someone coming up the steps and walking across the floor. Another piece of evidence that we found back in the edit room was during the interview with Bruce, the ghost tour guide that went with us that night. At the time, we didn't hear this, but apparently while we were recording the interview, we heard a strange voice. It happened right after the interviewer asked Bruce about, well, who are these ghosts on the ship? And he explained these are sailors who died while serving our country and are considered heroes. They should be considered heroes. And as the interviewer started asking the next question, we hear something, and here it is.
You're a special ghost.
When we go on the tour,
I went into this with an open mind. I mean, I've never seen a ghost before in my life, so I didn't necessarily believe in ghosts, but I was willing to see what evidence there might be. I'm amazed what we got. I mean, the shots that I got of the ghosts walking through the hallway, there's no other explanation for it. I can't explain it. The noises in the hallways, there's no other explanation for it. There was no one else in that part of the ship, and yet it sounds like there's people walking through the rooms. I'd love to go back in a heartbeat and do it again and spend another night.